ATP.
What's up? This is Austin with ATP, and today I want to talk a little bit about sidechaining in FL Studio. Before I go any further, let me show you what I'm talking about.
Stop me if I'm being cocky. I just wanted your body. You look like you want to, don't you?
So as you can hear, the delay or the echo, whatever you want to call it, didn't start playing until the second the vocal stopped. You'll also notice I don't have any automation clips. I didn't do anything fancy with that. This is done with just plugins, which I think is the easiest way to do it. All you really got to do to achieve this effect is take your vocal and route it to an aux track. And all you have to do that is select one of these arrows right here, and it'll route it to an aux. And then click on the channel that you routed it to and pull up your delay. So for this tutorial, I use H-Delay because I think it's the best, but honestly, any delay plugin that comes stock with your DAW is going to be just fine. I've already got my settings dialed in. I've got it set to a half note. I've got the BPM set to 127. That's to match the beat so everything comes in on time. And I've got my EQ set with the high pass and low pass to cut out some of the low muddy shit and the upper harsh frequencies that I don't want to hear with the delay. So underneath my H-Delay, you'll notice I have a limiter, and the limiter is actually what gives us the sidechaining effect. Without the limiter, I'll show you what this sounds like.
Stop me if I'm being cocky. I just wanted your body. You look like.
So as you can hear, it sounds pretty cool for a couple seconds, but it gets awfully distracting pretty fast, and it's not really what I want the delay there for. I want it to be more of an effect that comes on just after the vocal and not like a main instrument. So the way to get this out of our face, the easiest way at least, is to pull up a limiter underneath. And we're going to switch over to the compression side, and we're going to use the sidechain feature, and you're going to want to right click and select whatever insert your vocal is going to. So what this basically does is when the vocal is playing, it's going to trigger this compressor to drop the level of the delay. And as soon as the vocal stops, depending on what you have your release time set to, it's going to let it go and start playing again. So basically when the vocal's playing, the delay stops, vocal stops, delay starts. So as far as other settings I touched on here, the only ones I really fucked with is the threshold, the ratio, the release, and the sustain. The threshold and ratio I leave the same on basically every single vocal track. I leave the threshold at about -48 to -60, which is all the way down, because I want the signal to be attenuated almost immediately. And I have the compression ratio at 10:1 because I want a very hard stoppage. I don't want like a 2:1 where half the signal's bleeding through, or a 3:1 where a third of it is. I want 10:1 where only a tenth of it is getting past the threshold. So the sustain I always have set to 0. I'm not exactly sure what this does, but I know it messes with the release time a little bit, which is not what I want because that's a very important setting to get right. What the release does is it basically tells the compressor when it's okay to let go of the hold that it has on the signal. If you have it set too short for your delay, it's going to sound like the delay came out of nowhere and almost hit you too fast. And if it's too long, it's going to sound like you had to wait too long for the delay to come back. So I like to have this in time perfectly, and you can mess with it until it sounds good, or you can just do it the easy way. The easy way is to take your tempo and pull up a website called Nick Fever. You f***er. All you got to do is type it in right here, 127, calculate, and it pulls up all the multiples of your notes. So for this example, typically what I would do is if I had a half note delay, I would use a half note release time. But on this song, for some reason, it sounded like it was just taking a little bit too long to come back, and the quarter note sounded really good. So that's what I went with for this one. It doesn't really matter. I would play around with any of these. Just figure out what sounds good. So let me just turn the delay off real quick, and I'll do a before and after to see what we got out of this plugin. This is no delay right here.
Stop me if I'm being cocky. I just wanted your body. You look.
This is delay with no sidechain.
Stop me if I'm being cocky. I just wanted your body.
And this is delay with sidechain.
Stop me if I'm being cocky. I just wanted your body. You look like you want to, don't you?